They tryna tell me that I'm good without you. Just stay with the things that make you feel good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back. We are discussing Queen Sugar. This is the season premiere of season 5. This is a show that we have reviewed in the past, but logistically it just was not working out for us to all get together in the same spot during the weeknights. But thanks to this thing called Zoom, we can come back together. And it's really been a blessing for us so that we can get back to recapping one of our favorite shows. So if you guys hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Louisiana, where the last one burnt you, know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. You can't trust that I won't.
Okay, like I said, we're back. You guys excited about the season 5 premiere?
I'm all warmed up, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Last season went out with a bang.
Well, I know we'll get to this in a moment, but let me say this first. Right on, Ralph Angel. You did what you were supposed to do with Darla, and I'm happy, because I like Darla.
I knew you would be happy about that.
Yeah, I like Darla. So, he manned up and went down on one knee, and, that made me feel good.
And they've come a long way.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful moment.
I was happy to see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Anybody want to address the elephant in the room? Amira Vaughn playing as Parker, the devil in the red dress.
Well, when I said that we went out last season with a bang, it was interesting finding out who her father was, first of all, and just the relationship that he had in the whole situation with Frances, the lady who burned down the mill.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was interesting learning that how Landry and that whole team was basically playing both sides of the coin against Charley. And so opening up this week, we finally got some justice as Frances was getting sentenced. What did you guys think about her trying to rewrite the narrative as the judge pointed out to her?
Well, that's white privilege, thinking that you can go in, this is your sentencing, and you think that you can go in and rewrite, what's supposed to happen. She should have got more years because, she's got to do a third of 7, something like that.
Yeah, she has to do 7 years. She got sentenced.
Now that's not federal court though, was it?
It didn't look like it, but one thing I noticed about this episode, they incorporated COVID into it, and so you heard Nova listening to the reports on the radios, and the fact that the court session was like a close from the public. I was wondering if they were trying to insinuate like that maybe that would have been due to some COVID measures, because I see a lot of shows nowadays trying to incorporate that into their storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting that nobody was wearing masks, so
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I think this is before COVID, because now the court system, especially in Virginia, they're not really even going to the courts. They're doing everything over the phone and Zoom too.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that in the next coming episode when they incorporate COVID. But no, Frances is going up. She's going to the Bing. Good deal on that. Still a lot of cleanup that's got to be done down there though. But Councilman, Charley, she's on top of things.
It's nice to see her stepping into her role, taking it seriously. We know that she had previously been offered all kind of bribes, and she really stands her ground. So that's positive to see. But Did you have something to add, Tiffany? You look like you wanted to say something.
No, I was just thinking, it just seemed like a lot had happened. You know, when I was watching this episode, even though I saw last season and everything, it just seems like last season was a while ago. So I'm like, okay, she's a councilwoman now. Michael's off at college. Like all these things that have happened. Nova with what's his name?
Calvin.
Yeah, she back with him and stuff. So I was just like, wow, it just seemed like a lot has happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened. We've seen, you know, like you said, Nova got back with Calvin. She cut her hair. How are y'all feeling this new hairstyle on her? I think it looks nice.
I like the locks.
You don't like it?
I like the locks. When it started,
but I like the mohawk too. I think it's fierce. Yeah.
The locks was cool with me. When she, you know, when the show started and she was cutting them off, I'm like, oh no, I can't, you know.
I thought it was cool because like what she said is moving forward. And so you get the sense that everybody, all the characters, everybody is moving forward. So they kind of set the stage for a lot of change.
Yes.
For a lot of change to happen. So I'm kind of excited to see where it goes, particularly with Charley in her new role and her taking on another quote unquote villain.
Yes.
So can we talk about the villain here? You know, Ron, you brought up Amira Van. I think she does such a good job playing the villain. She played it well in How to Get Away with Murder. And she's always this kind of like ferocious, like the opposition. So I like her in this role, and I think that she'll for some reason I have a feeling that her and Charley are more alike than they think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She's time enough.
No, I think they are. I think that, and probably that's why they're headbutting, as you know, the way they are, because they're both on different sides, but they're both very strong women that have, you know, their own opinions, own mindsets. And, you know, I don't know what else you can expect from two dynamic women like that.
And they're both very calculating too. So this is going to be interesting to see who moves next and how they move. It's going to be like watching them play chess. It's going to be great.
It looks like Parker has at least 2 moves on Charley right now. So, you know, Charley's got some catching up to do.
Well, yeah, we've seen very early into the episode that a lot of the farmers were facing eviction because of this new highway that they're trying to, you know, put through town. And Ralph Angel stood up and he really represented for all the Black farmers, even going up against Charley to say, like, this is not okay. You need to do something. Everybody on that board needs to do something.
Yeah.
And so Charley, being brand new to the role, she had a lot of work to do. And the pressure is definitely on her. But what Parker did to her later on in the episode, as they are coming together for this big community celebration for Black History Month to remember Saint Josephine, the town's namesake. Man, you guys want to talk about what Parker threw Charley smooth under the bus?
Well, you know, it's like I said a little earlier, you know, Parker, she presented the whole situation as if that Charley was in cahoots with actually now forgiving the eviction notice of the farmers, and now citing that the highway will now run somewhere down 21st Street and some other street, which happens to be where all the graveyards are. And of course, the farmers and everyone in town are upset about that. But I'm gonna tell you, I had to give my hat off to Parker, the way she tied Charley's proposal, which was to not get rid of the farms, and tied it in with her scheme and made everybody think that, you know, she and Charley were like that. And that's not.
She was like, I'm gonna give you what you want, but I'm gonna get something out of it too.
You may not like the way I give it, but I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah, that was a little foul of her.
It was, but I think the interesting thing about that is that, you know, Charley is the kind of person, like, if you catch her off guard once, you'll never do it again. So it's almost like Parker tipped her hand on how she rolls, and so now Charley is prepared for her.
Yep.
Definitely prepared for her. So her counter strike. I was thinking about this in terms of the former should know better, but then I was like, nah, Charley has made some decisions in the past that would cause them not to trust her, even though she's always doing things on their behalf, even though they can't see it. So I think Parker was smart in kind of playing it that way. But that's the thing about Charley. She's very strategic. Now that she's going to be set in motion, she's not really going to see her coming.
That's a good point. Tiffany, do you have anything to add to that? Okay, because I
said
just
it perfectly.
Okay, I just flashed back to last season, how Frances, kind of set that whole thing up for her mill to get burned down, and then the way Charley took note of what happened and then set the plan in motion to get Frances caught up and arrested. And so I'm like, well, Parker knew about all that was going to go down in that situation. And so knowing how smart and how calculating Charley is, you should know that if you cross her, she's going to come back 10 times harder.
It's like the Wild Wild West, two famous gunmen get together and they each think they're better than the other, who's the fastest draw. So, and I think Parker, not like you said, she fully understands who she's up against, but, she believes that she's the better woman and that, she'll prevail.
Yeah. I agree. Outside of that, so, another interesting thing that I noticed this episode was Nova's introduction of Calvin to, her inner circle, and how they weren't really feeling him, not only because they felt like Nova was being brand new a little bit, but because he's a former police officer. And of course, like the narrative right now surrounding the police, I thought that was interesting how they incorporated that conversation into the show.
And plus what happened to Micah. Because Micah, remember his stop with the police and everything too. So a lot of bad blood there.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that the relationship continued into season 5. As you said, with all the situations with police officers and Micah, and then too they seem to be,
But he left the police though, didn't he?
Did.
Didn't last year he left?
He did. Yeah. He left the police force. But there just seemed to be a little animosity between the two of them last season anyway. But I know they were coming back together. But it just, and then if you notice when, later on in the episode, when they were in bed and Nova started, giving her do's and don'ts as to what goes on in her bedroom, that was a dig about the television. She was cool about it. But, Nova...
Not only that, but that satin pillowcase, you don't use my pillowcase.
That's
to be eating your food on.
Right. That you don't put your food on the silk satin pillowcase. That is for the sister's hair. And that's the cultural thing that he didn't get. But she let him know like that,
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting how that stands up with him, because there's gonna be a lot of little things he's gonna learn about her sister and her bedroom. So it's gonna be interesting.
But that is interesting because they do have a past. It's not like they hadn't dated before. So,
right.
I think he was right in saying, I thought you cut the locks. I thought we was done with this pillow. He didn't get
it. Right.
It's our hair in general.
Yeah, in general, right. So he doesn't understand that,
Locks or no locks, that satin pillowcase stays.
Right.
But it's the relationship, I think, is going to foster a real deep conversation about what it means to be for the people, publicly and then personally. I mean, her choice to be with him is her choice, but it's always going to question her commitment. How deep is her commitment to the people when you choose someone who's just maybe optically is so opposed to that kind of concept that, you are pro people, pro Black, but your mate is not Black. Does that question your Blackness and your commitment to the movement when your personal life doesn't necessarily kind of mirror what you profess? That's just going to be the conversation, and I can just feel it coming up.
And that conversation comes up quite often, especially
Oh,
like
yeah, it does.
surrounding people like Jordan Peele and Nate Parker, people that are really fighting for a equality for Black people, but they have white mates.
Yeah.
And
so they're constantly being called into question.
And with Calvin, it really gives him no room to make a mistake, because one mistake and, as you said, the people are done with him. So it's going to be interesting because as you said,
I mean, did you guys see the previews for next week? Like when he goes to meet, she goes to meet, her ex-wife is there. Yeah. So that's another conflict because, initially when Nova was dealing with him, he was still married. So Nova was the mistress and now she's his woman. And now they're going to an event, a family affair, and the ex-wife is there. So that's going to be drama.
I saw a trailer.
And outside of the fact that the grandfather already, Calvin's already apprehensive about the grandfather meeting her. Yeah. And it seems like there might be some underlying like racial.
There is.
Obviously. Yeah.
I saw a trailer online, and when his father or grandfather sees Nova, you should see his face. So you're right. There's going to be a whole lot about that scene. It's going to be, these are telltales. So I can't wait to see what happens. Because Nova's not the type, I don't think, to put up with too much. It's just, I think it'll, too much and she's out. Because as you said earlier, she has a responsibility to her clan now. I mean, she's just launched her, what was that?
Website,
True Paper, I think it's called, something like that. So, the people would be, are you really true? Are you really being true? I mean, I don't know how much they can stand Calvin, and it's going to be interesting how they try to keep him in, because he just doesn't fit. It's unfortunate, but he just doesn't seem to fit in her.
But she's being true to her heart, because that's who she's always loved.
Well, yeah.
From that perspective, she's being true to herself, because when the show first started, that's who she was in love with. And then she dated several people. But he always seemed to be the one who had her heart, though.
True, but business is business.
And then I think for him, even though as they were having that conversation that he was a quote unquote good cop, he wasn't a bad one. I think the work that he has to do to redeem himself on the show and in the eyes of the people is really about those years that he spent as a police officer. So I think in order for him to be accepted and for him to be, I guess, for people to really embrace them as a couple and to really embrace her work, he has to do some type of activism or be shown to do some type of activism around his former job as a police. How all that works when he has this history with his family and for them to overcome, I think that's going to be the drama surrounding her relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do they make all of that work?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all of the narratives that are possibly explored this season. Mm-hmm. We see Micah has also pledged into a fraternity and he's living the campus life. So just wondering how they'll explore that with him. Even just going deeper into like the family issues, because we know that there's still some things that even within the family are unsettled. Ralph Angel and Nova still have some things to hash out in their relationship. So it's going to be interesting.
I like Hollywood. Hollywood is real smooth with Vi, and he truly loves her. So I hope Vi can get over that situation with the last episode, because, there's a lot in her heart about that and how Hollywood, actually responded. Although I don't know what else you would expect your man to do, but it's just going to be interesting.
Okay. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add regarding the show? These episodes are, so short. And so it's like the story progresses, but it's it's not going to be as long as our usual recaps where we're spending so much time delving deep into it, because this is such a short show.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm just glad to see Ralph Angel, uh, you know, get with his family, and because I do like Darla, he had to forgive her, and he was
Mhm.
able, and now we see that he's able to do that. So I'm hoping that the marriage is going to turn out, the way it looks that it might. And Little Blue, he loves Ralph Angel to death. So
Mhm.
I hope it works out for them.
Yeah, I like their family unit.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question about Prosper. Was anybody
Okay.
surprised to see him painting? I thought Prosper was sick or something. Looking like a young man painting on that wall.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I thought the same thing. I thought he had died or he was sick or something. So I was like, oh, he's alive and well, huh?
Yeah, he looks good.
I was like, they got this man working. I was like, I thought he was sick because somebody was going over there to take care of him. But I was like, all right, whatever. They nursed him back to health. They got him working.
I thought the show was beautifully shot, and I always thought that about Queen Sugar too. It's just like how everybody, especially Black folks, look on camera, and then the colors they had them wearing. First of all, like Charlie's wardrobe was perfection, perfection, and I like the way, like on several of the characters, they had them wearing purple, especially on that Saint Josephine day. And purple is a color of royalty. And I felt like they were trying to say something about, us with having those sisters wear the purple and everything. Like they're Black queens.
Yeah, this show is very intentional.
Mhm.
They do a lot of things very well and on purpose.
Yeah, about the use of culture, of history, of tradition, of spirituality. It's always interwoven into the show. It's a beautiful thing to see.
It is. It is.
Okay. You guys have any predictions you want to throw out there? I know it's early on, so it's hard to call it. But
and this show was very well, with the exception of Charley and Parker getting into it. The show was pretty soft today. Just acclimating us back into Queen Sugar and getting things back up to speed. But no, I don't, and I think I'll hold my tongue to any predictions until after this next episode. I think I'll have one after that.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see if Nova and Calvin make it. I want Ralph Angel and Darla to make it too, but I wonder too if they're gonna actually make it down the aisle. But it was nice to see in this episode, the Black love, because like started off with Hollywood and Aunt Vi, and then Darla and Ralph Angel, he proposed to her and things like that. I was like, oh, okay.
And also Ralph Angel, I'm glad he showed up, to Nova's event.
I was happy to see that too.
Yeah, that bad blood they had between them in the last season, it just couldn't survive. So I was glad to see that coming together and Nova coming over and consoling him about the farm and what he thought might be the demise of their farm. So I like that.
I think we'll see Darla kind of define herself or redefine herself once again, because she had started working and then all the stuff came out about Blue, and so Charley let her go. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how she reinvents herself and kind of separates herself, because I don't think she's going to be content to just be a housewife. She still is in this process of really figuring out who she is and setting herself apart. So
one other thing, does Charley know that Micah had pledged?
I don't think so, because he hasn't been home in 2 months.
Yeah.
And that conversation, she's like, hey, I haven't seen you 2 months. He said, I've just been busy. And usually when you're pledging, you can't really tell your family and friends stuff.
You can tell your parents, I thought.
I don't know. Well, maybe you could tell your parents, but I know when my little cousin was pledging at Howard and stuff, she didn't want to speak. She couldn't speak to us and everything. Couldn't look, so I don't know. I didn't pledge, but I know that she was just like not supposed to look over there, wasn't supposed to speak, all this other stuff. I'm like, okay,
Well, it looks like Micah made it through.
You made it.
Yeah. And it looked like he was a Mu Gamma too. I was like, but you got served. Why not the other team? The Gamma moves.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I wonder if they'll explore about his side of the story, is because we know that Micah has kind of been a little bit of a loner, and so like he's finding a community at school. And I wonder how him being in that fraternity, and we know like the newfound attention that sometimes that can bring. Sometimes people really get big-headed after they have pledged and joined a frat or a sorority. And so like I wonder how he might be influenced, or how his attitude might change. Because thus far he's been like a very grounded kid. And just being away at college, that's when most of the sheltered kids kind of get a taste of the real world and maybe start wilding out.
Oh my God.
Right.
Look, I know that.
I wonder if Kiki is there.
Oh, yeah.
Kiki
Well,
Right.
same school?
yeah, and I know he's not done with her. So,
We'll see.
We'll see, because he's at college,
Well, that's true.
and if she's at the same one or not, we'll see.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I said you got served. I meant to say Stomp the Yard. That's the movie I was talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this was good. I'm glad we got to finally get back together and talk about, we've been on a little hiatus.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, much needed. We needed some rest, but so glad to be back.
Yeah.
Kicking things up again. This is always nice to rejoin you guys and kick it.
Oh, we got to still do our Q&A, y'all. With the
Yes,
fans.
yes.
Okay.
So if you guys we threw this out there after the end of Power Book 2, but just getting any spotters who watch, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask of us individually or as a group, personal questions, but not too deep. Don't be digging all up in our business now.
Yeah.
But you could definitely ask us questions that you might want to know just to get to know us better. We are definitely open to that.
Someone
If you
said,
want to.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
Someone said they wanted to see my twin brother on the show. So that's going to
That
be.
would be cool.
That would be cool.
Okay.
Maybe we could Zoom him in.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Well, I mean, anything, guys, just throw your suggestions for questions that you want answered down in the comments and let us know what you would like to know about us, because we do look forward to filming that and giving you guys a little bit more insight into us and who we are as individuals, and get to know us better, so that we have like that, that repertoire built. We family around here, so you got to know who your distant cousins. We all distant cousins out there.
Oh, I love it.
And also let us know what you thought about this episode of Queen Sugar. Are you excited that it's back? Give us your predictions on where you're seeing it going this season. And make sure you also follow us online at The Spot Real Talk. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Give us a follow. We are, willing to follow back, and we're definitely going to keep posting content there as well. So do you guys have anything else you want to add before we close out?
I think you said it all.
No, I'm just happy it's back on.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I think we're going to call it a night, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
But I don't see it saving me. Pretty on a shelf, it's clear to